my mom. That's human being. We are done. I mean, we are sorry. I mean, I don't know what I mean.
She's still
But
working on her introduction. Craig, thanks for joining us today. I know when I interview our guest, I sound so robotic that the interwebs claims I am AI generated. So do you mind introducing yourself to our audience?
I've never heard that before. I'm probably not too different to you, to be honest. But yeah, my name's Craig Murphy, director of Alt Agency. It's a web design agency based in Birmingham in the UK. And I got diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder about 2 years ago. It was actually Asperger's that I've got, which they don't call it Asperger's anymore. It's merged in with autism spectrum disorder.
I always like asking our guests who are late diagnosed because I was one of those weirdos who was diagnosed way back in the dark ages of the 80s. What was it like getting that diagnosis?
Not a shock, really, to be honest with you. I've probably had, I don't know what you call what the proper name there would be, maybe a bit unusual mannerisms and unusual behaviours. I'm slightly different to most people, especially around timings, being on time, attention to detail, obsessions, that kind of stuff. So people had already hinted at it throughout my life. I did run those online tests, which are never accurate, probably about 38 now, about 20 years ago, and came back saying, very, very slightly on the spectrum. So it wasn't a massive shock at all. It was a bit strange, really, because when I had the test done, the doctors recommended it. When I had the test done, so I was in hospital, I was well, they said get tested for autism. And when I got the results, being 36 at the time, I think it was 36, I was like, well, what do I do with these results now? And they were like, well, most people get diagnosed when they're younger for school. I'm 36. It's no use to me now, and this is what you can give them to your employer. Like, oh, I'm self-employed or my own business. So it's kind of, do so, well, at least you know now. That's all, thanks. So that's,
It is definitely something when adults come to me and go, yeah, I was diagnosed because my kid was diagnosed. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. It seems way different than when I was diagnosed because it was so that I could get those services in school, like speech and everything. Um, how has being neurodiverse, I mean, obviously you were neurodiverse your whole life. It's not like getting that diagnosis suddenly made you neurodiverse. How has that affected your career? Because, I mean, being in web design, you're definitely in a creative career where you're doing things that other people can't necessarily figure out on their own.
yeah, I guess from a visual creative side, I'm not very good at that side either. I think autism either you're very good creatively, you can draw very, very intricate drawings, or you're quite good on the coding side. Unfortunately, I'm quite good. Well, I seem to be quite good on the coding side. So coding came quite natural to me. When I started building my first websites 26 years ago, I think it was now. Yeah, I just looked at coding, which made sense. I've no formal training in code. I could just look at it and understand what it was doing and picked up on it very, very quickly and very, very naturally. So quite fortunate, really. It really helped me. And that side of things to live.
I've always thought coding, and this is probably from my weird neurodiverse viewpoint of it, it seems like you have to be slightly creative to understand the languages of coding because they are a totally different language. They're not English. They don't have the same syntax
Sure.
and the same grammar.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, it's kind of black and white, and I guess that's kind of the autism thing, right? It's either black and white, there's no shades of grey, and it either makes sense or it just ends in the visual side to me never made sense. So when I looked at line code, I was like, oh, that's putting an image in there, that's a file, and this is doing that, and it just made complete natural sense to me. I don't really understand why. I guess it's something to do with autism, but it just naturally clicked, if that makes sense, and it just made perfect sense to me.
It does make sense. I have people who laugh at me because I'll look at a word problem and go, oh, here's a new formula we need to do this. And they're like, how did you just come up with an entire new mathematical formula? It was there in the papers that you put in front of me.
Yeah, things like that, Joe. I'm quite good with numbers, spreadsheets, calculations, formulas, all that kind of stuff. It just, I don't know, it's kind of weird. It's like I can see it inside my head. It just kind of makes sense, and I can just put it into into an Excel, and it just fortunately, well, I say it doesn't work all the time, but it gets there thereabouts and create it from there. But yeah, it's numbers have always been a bit of a strange one for me. I struggled with them when I was much younger. I really, really struggled with them. And when I got to about 19, 20, something just happened and it just clicked and suddenly made sense overnight.
I like
It's unusual.
I have a PhD in theoretical and quantum physics, and I am pretty sure all of my friends have dyscalculia, but we can all do formulas. Just don't ask us to add 2 plus 2 together.
Yeah. So I'm nowhere near that level of intelligence when it comes to numbers. Yeah, I can read a balance sheet and read a company's accounts, that kind of stuff. That's probably where my maths ends. But yeah, no, nowhere near that level.
I can't understand an accounting sheet, so you're way better than I am.
I
That
disagree with
is,
that, but fair enough.
um, since you've known you were autistic, has that changed anything about how you see the workplace?
Um, yeah, well, I'm trying to learn from it, because before that, everything was an absolute disaster. You go from null to catastrophizing in a split second. Whereas now, I'm a bit more conscious that perhaps it's not reality. It's my brain almost playing like a trick on me and trying to get to the worst case. It's not going to serve me very well. So I try and take a deep breath and rationalize things, thinking a couple of weeks' time, a couple of days, a couple of weeks, a couple of hours, this will all be sorted. I've got a great team around me as well, and I have to trust them with it. I've been their insights as well before. It was usually just me quite closed off. So hearing other people's opinions, of team members' opinions on situations and other parts of the business really helps. Just to kind of relax me, I guess, is the best way of describing it.
Um, if you don't mind me asking, how was school? I know you weren't diagnosed in school, but you were obviously autistic. It's not something that just magically shows up when you're an adult and you're late diagnosed. Was school a problem for you going through your childhood?
I had subjects that I was interested in and that I was. So business studies and IT were the two ones that I really like. But I didn't excel in them. I was quite a bit behind in the class through. Even though I could code and build a website, I wasn't interested in like word processing and different bits, wherever else there is that Microsoft Office suite. I remember like Access and that kind of stuff in Excel. I wasn't really interested into it. I was more interested in making an image scroll across the screen on a website. That kind of stuff interested me a lot more. And then when I did my GCSEs, I didn't score very well. Funnily enough, for my business studies, for my GCSEs, which is our exams in the UK, I did a business plan for running a web design agency, and it fell flat on its face in terms of the results that I got. But I think there's a massive difference between theory and execution, and just marking something down on a document. It didn't put me off, and we've got 17 staff at the agency. It's growing quite well. So yeah, I mean, I could have been really put off by that and thought, oh gosh, it's never going to work. But there's a huge gulf between somebody marking something and somebody executing, and it will live.
I've noticed that a lot of my friends who are autistic, they did not necessarily test well in the subjects that they're all now experts in.
Yeah, that's a fair summary. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. If it's put to a sentence, that's what it is. And the things that I thought I was really good at, I thought I could do my future career in and whatnot. The results tended to fall flat on that face. But
Oh, yeah. When working at work, and yeah, my ADHD is showing. I never go in a linear line, obvious.
okay.
When you're at work, how many other people are openly autistic at your office, just out of curiosity?
I'm not aware of any right now. I think there will be trades have been developers, I believe. Yeah, I don't believe anybody's actually openly tested and openly discussed it for what's going. I can remember. I believe it's just myself right now.
I'm just the weirdo who's like, come on, guys, we have to be a little bit more openly autistic, or people are going to think we're all just weirdos.
I've never really asked people either, to be honest with you, because I kind of leave people to speak about what they what they want to. There's certainly been people in the past who've openly spoke about neurodiversity to an extent, but everyone's completely different.
Oh, I get that part. I'm just, I've been dealing, especially with the dance world and her, there's a lot of accommodations that I'm like, if you would just tell the people in charge you need the accommodations, then the younger kids coming up after you might get the accommodations easier.
Yeah, for sure. From that point of view, yeah, I mean, I would never openly ask somebody, like you, autistic, for example, but for sure we'd always ask people if they're comfortable, do they need any special accommodations, that type of things. But yeah, nothing's really jumped out to me right now, thinking about being, quite anything specific.
I've for my
Oh,
age
you
group, and
forgot the fact that maybe if you're openly autistic, there wouldn't be children still trying to mask and annoy me because I'm asking.
and I should probably, it's things like, the lights bugging you, which some autistic people have the worst problems with, like fluorescent lighting that's still all over here.
Yeah, you say, yeah, fluorescent lighting in the offices and whatnot, but no, I mean, there's always has people that are comfortable, especially around laptops and keyboards, that kind of stuff, because, your chairs and desks, which, like, doesn't really specifically relate to autism, but no, there's been nobody who's raised any special concerns when asked.
Oh no, that I've started asking all of our guests because we do have a lot of people in the dance world that we know who are like, oh no, I'll just keep not feeling comfortable on set or in the studio. And I'm like, or you could just ask people to turn off the fluorescent lights. You're in your 40s. You can be an adult now.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but I guess if I was in a situation I was comfortable, to be honest with you, I think I'd probably just write it out as well. I probably wouldn't say, oh, that light's bugging me. Yeah, if this is a flashing light somewhere, I'd probably move out of the way so it wasn't distracting me. But yeah, I guess for me, I'd probably feel a bit like I'm making a bit of a nuisance or a bit of a show of trying to ask somebody to make an accommodation. So I tend to keep my head down, that kind of stuff, and just try and write it out the best stuff I can.
I can understand that completely. I did that for like 30 plus years of my life.
Sure, yeah, it should just not making a fuss and just, I just think, oh, it was time, 50 minutes, it'll be over. So I just try to write it out the best that I can.
I'm like, I'm now the CEO. I can turn off the lights that are bugging me.
Yes. There's that side of it as well. But yeah, if it was like a third party event or in somebody else's company, somebody else's premises, I don't think I would. I'd probably feel a bit rude, to be honest with you. I'm worried if I did somebody as well, so I'd probably stay away from there.
I wouldn't do it at someone else's. I'm just like, guys, you are the ones in charge. You can do it when you're in charge.
Yeah. I guess that's kind of, what I'm trying to say, yeah.
I'm not, yeah, I wouldn't do it at someone else's event. And there are parents at her dance studio that we have that's for autistic kids, and they'll turn on their fluorescent lights and I will handle them having the lights on. And then as soon as they're out, the lights go off.
Yeah, fair enough.
What has been one of the biggest challenges being autistic and being in the website developing world?
Probably managing and dealing with people. I joke with the team, and we hired the sales team, that they put the autistic person in charge of sales, which isn't, not necessarily on paper, it probably doesn't make sense. But, we're the best part of £1 million a year agency, so I haven't done too bad, but it's not something that I really like doing. It's something that I have to, I guess, perform. Mask is the right word for it, is where you have to put on a persona of, well, let's try and be relaxed and not come across awkward and that kind of thing in sales meetings. It's still okay. Obviously, I know it's an area that's very weak for me. So we have to go through interviewing, and then interviewing's a weak area for me, because when I take people face value, when they say something, I take it as literally. Somebody says, oh, we can do X, Y, Z, I expect them to do X, Y, and Z, right? Because you said I can do X, Y, Z, so why wouldn't be able to do it? So other members of the team, senior management, will join me at interviewing, just to help me pick up and read on those substances that I will no doubt miss. So yeah, definitely the people side has been the most challenging part for me.
I can understand that. I am not a people person, and I am CEO of a nonprofit, and they're like, you have to talk to people. I'm like, or you guys can go talk to them and I'll just seal the deal.
Yeah. It's a bit of a shame for you. Not for me personally, but I feel it's a bit of a not a shame, like the right word, a bit I don't really know what the word is I'm looking for, but to not engage with people, it's I'd like to engage with people more and be more friendly and ask how's your weekend. I did that small talk, which I'm absolutely dreadful at. So when we're in meetings now, when people have the small talk and I get brought in when it's something more technical, because I'm very, very poor at that. But I think you can close doors, and not being skilled and good in small talk. I think it really make it come off a bit rude or awkward. So yeah, that's why we've built the team out to accommodate that around me.
And going a little further into that, how important is having that team around you?
Oh yeah, 1,000%. Until we made our first hire, which I think was about 2015, 16, I forget now, which is project manager. Yeah, it was just me. I didn't even like answering the phone, to be honest with you. If the phone rang, it was just, I'm not answering that. I'd be petrified, but also you have to do it to run a business. You've got to engage, you've got to speak to people. Not everything can be done over email. People want to jump on the train and go and meet them, which always made me even now I can still get nervous, but back then it was nerves, sinful, like shaking and feeling physically sick in the thoughts and going out the house and meeting someone and being in a room or walking into a room and then people sat around a huge desk. It's just like, I don't really know. Do we need to start now or what? It's very hard to read the room and when to get going. Are they waiting for me to speak? Am I waiting for them to speak? Because I am. It can be very, very, very awkward. But building that team out, telling them understand how I work, has been a massive, massive help, especially at the senior major level, because they know where my weaknesses are, and it really harder to plug those holes, basically.
I am terrible at least in my opinion, when we're running our board meetings for the nonprofit, I sit there going, I have screwed up, and spend like 2 days afterwards thinking I messed up the entire board meeting. And they're all emailing me going, that was great. And I'm like, nice to know you thought it was Chris.
Yeah, I get that as well. Sometimes it's so I can misread situations the complete opposite. So I can come out to a meeting and be like, oh, that was great. And people will be like, it wasn't that good. Or I'll come out of a meeting, that was an absolute disaster. I'm like, why went absolutely perfectly fine? Yeah, but I think I struggle to really understand what's happened and the nuances of things as well.
I don't think I've ever come out of a meeting and thought it was great. I am going over every mistake and every and every stuttering I did the entire meeting.
Yeah. I mean, I think sometimes coming out from your gut feeling of like, yeah, you was in the flow and you said everything you needed to, and you got everything out, you covered all the points you needed to, and the response from the other person was quite good as well. I usually read them as positive, but then some people might be like, they were just kind of wanting to get over and done with or rushing and that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's interesting.
How is it working? I'm trying to figure out how to put this. Working with people on that personal level, like going into those meetings and having those personal business relationships.
Yeah, up and down, difficult. I mean, something that you have to. Sorry, my phone starts ringing. Then it's something that you have to work out right and be present. And yeah, I've done lots of training around it. I've done pre-meetings before where I've run through things with the team. So basically, I'll go into a meeting and be prepared to know absolutely everything, every question and whatnot. But sometimes I think you can be too over-prepared. You can go to a meeting unprepared, and it just felt completely natural. Yeah, this podcast it wasn't scripted or anything. We was having a conversation about. I think these kind of ones, know your basis, and then walk in the basics, walk in, and then just cover it from there, and just let it flow rather than trying to stick to a rigid agenda, which I think can make you stress and overthink things when it's not needed.
I think that's probably what freaks me out the most about the board meetings is we have to have that agenda going in and publish it going in. And I'm like, oh, great. Stick with the agenda. Stay on topic. Stay on it at this exact time.
Yeah, I used to be like that, very, very rigid, I guess is probably the word. But yeah, some good conversations, some good ideas, some good momentum comes out of that the free flowing, which I know is hard to do when you want structure and certainty, right? But I guess there's almost kind of like a certainty in the uncertainty, if that makes sense. Just by being relaxed and knowing you're going to come out with something uncertain, it kind of helps, if that makes sense.
Oh, it does. We are required by state law for me to publish that agenda before the board meeting publicly, so the public can know what we're doing. And I'm like, got to stay on topic. Got to do it exactly how I put it on here in order.
Yeah, no, I get a bit of that, but yeah, at the same time, it's just we just have to push and see what happens from there.
How much does having that team around you help in those business relationships?
Well, a bit of a sense. I've got one of the most outgoing, speak to anybody, salespeople on the planet, can walk into any room and just light up and speak to absolutely anybody in the room, in conversation, in any situation. That's really not for me. So, to get the momentum and get the relationship going, that works very well. And then there's other team members as well. So, with the senior project manager, for example, I prefer just to deal with the heads of each department and say, right, here's what we need to do. Can you go away and execute it? For 70 people, 70 different personalities and different ways of understanding things and all that kind of stuff. So they will relay back in their language to the right people to make sure it's all relayed in the right way, and we're not going to go around in circles. So without that team, I think it'll be very challenging to say the least.
I think sometimes people have a misunderstanding about neurodivergent people, and they don't understand we do tend to need that team around us.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I'm not aware of anyone who's ever built a business just on their own and made it successful and really grew to very successful heights. There's a lot of business leaders who perhaps have autistic traits, like Bill Gates. I don't know if he has. I know there's a lot about him doing. He rocks in his chair. He's very good at coding, obviously, and I've seen some footage of him when he's in meetings with people, and he seemed a bit abrupt, to say the least. But yeah, I think without a team, you've got to motivate and encourage people, which I'm not very good at all. I'm just a kind of here's what task, get my head down, get on with it type person, where some people need the bits around it to encourage them and to push them in the right direction.
What are you doing over there? Oh, she has lost something over there. And I'm like, what are you doing? You have distracted your mom with ADHD.
No worries.
But with having the autism, my brain just went completely. I know what I want to ask, and I'm trying to figure out how to put it together. How much has that also affected not just the business side of things, but the coding side of things, where, like you said, coding seems to come naturally to you? Does that ever affect like the business relationship side of things, where people are kind of see you as, oh, he's just all knowing in coding, and they're not coming up and giving suggestions on how to make the code better? Does that make any sense what I said?
Yeah, I don't think it's about, and everyone's got their own ways of coding, their own ideas of doing things. I think for me, I'll keep things very, 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 very simple, where some developers will massively overcomplicate things. Oh, I've got this and that and that. I'm thinking, well, all you're doing really is moving data from point A to point B. Just create a simple connection, do it that way, where they'll want to route things and all this, make a mountain of a molehill. I think a lot of developers will, maybe not a lot, but a number of developers will overcomplicate things. And sometimes I'll sit down with the developers and say, look, I need to understand it's just in a sentence, what the problem is, what the solution is, or what it is, just in a sentence or two. And sometimes they do, oh, it can't be summarized in a sentence, blah, 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 and then explain to me. And then 10 minutes later, I'll just seem, okay, so you need to encrypt the data in the database and keep it nice and secure. And they're like, yeah, so, okay, no, I get it, fine. I just need a short sentence, because you can't explain it in a short sentence. I don't think you truly understand it. You've got to cut through to the heart, the real essence of what the problem is, and then we can work a solution from that. Strip it back to basics and work forward from that.
The website designs aren't just like toss graphics on a website and hope they do something specific. You guys are actually designing websites that have return on investments, that are dealing with SEO. I know that the way artificial intelligence and the chat GPTs and Geminis of the world are now doing more and more of the search engine types things are going
Sure.
into the AI things. How much do you have to explain to your clients why they need certain things on their website and try to make that into language they understand versus how your brain sees that language, if that makes any sense at all?
Yeah, I think, without sounding arrogant, I'm quite good at translating that TED talk to a client. Because, we take the developer into a meeting, and, case in point, there was a meeting that would go where a client asked, they want to put case studies on the website and make them show up on the homepage or whatnot. I made a developer for about 3 minutes explaining the technicalities of how it would all work. And I'll just jump in at the end and just say, to summarize, what that means is in the back end, you press a button, add a case study, tag it as a case study, and it will show up in the front end. So I think I'm quite good at understanding that. So, that's never really been a huge challenge for me. Yeah, you've got different departments in the business, developers, designers, SEO, and they all speak different languages. Senior managements, the accounting team, they all speak different languages. So it's just trying to understand what it is, what they really mean, and just explaining it in the most basic and simple terms possible, rather than using the tech terms. You don't need to use parallax or just say image scrolling over text or vice versa. And that kind of, that's what it means. Or worst case, just show them something rather than trying to explain it.
I am terrible at trying to explain the math terms at a very low level to my board. I'm just like, hi, so we do X and Y happens, and that's the best I can explain it unless you want the 20-minute college level lecture on it.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. There are situations which are very complex. A client might come to you with an idea, say they want to do X, and you look into it and you're like, but we've done this before. Here's how we did it previously. And there might be a bit set in their ways. And when you explain to them, actually, you do this way instead, it's going to save the development time by 4, 6, 8 weeks, or it may be, can reduce the cost for you as well, and make your platform scalable into the future. So a lot of clients, they don't. It's very, very rare somebody comes to us with a full plan and says, "I want to do it this way. Here's the only way. Go on and do it." A lot of them are aware they've got an idea, and they're looking for our input to bring it to life. And our reviews on Google, a lot of them mention how they came to us with an idea, and the project managers took that idea, run with it, streamlined it, and made it more efficient and clearer and simpler to be executed on as well.
When dealing with clients, because I'm guessing some of the clients who come to you do not even understand what the letters SEO mean.
Yeah, HTML, PHP, some did WordPress, CRM, CMS. Yeah, there's so many acronyms. Yeah, for sure.
How many of them have their eyes glaze over right away? Because when I'm talking to my board about stuff with the website there and with all of our social media, their eyes just start glazing over right away. And they're like, just tell us what you need us to do.
Yeah, very few, I think, because we don't take that approach of speaking in a foreign language and acronyms, because it's not right. It can be very confusing. The last thing you want is just to bamboozle a client with tech talk into becoming a client, right? Or there's a lot of people that make it look like a black box. I mean, only people in the world who can do it. So, instead of talking about like CMS, for example, or WordPress content management system, we'll just say to them in quite simple terms, you'll have a secure area you can log into, you'll be able to update your website, add images, add text, update it, add new pages in the future, very, very simply. And we demonstrate that as well by putting up on the big screen how the different platforms work. So we tend to stay away from tech bubble. I'm not a big fan of it. And a lot of people will use 20 different ways to say one thing, call a spade. So I like to keep it as simple as possible and make sure everyone in the room understands it. And of course, checking in as well. Does that make sense? Is that what you're expecting? Does it do what you're expecting? Just asking questions like that to make sure it's understood and on the right path and final deliverable as well.
My brain is trying to figure out how to put this together. I had an idea on how that sentence worked. And then the ADHD took over and went, oh, look, squirrel. It's going to be one of those days. I don't think I had enough coffee this morning. How often when you're working, actually not how often, have you ever had a autistic, not breakdown, but where you're like, I've worked so hard, I've focused so hard on this that I need to just take like a day or two off because I have pushed myself to the absolute limit?
No, but I think I've got, if nobody tells me to, I mean, this is where I could be wrong, I'm going to say is that I think I've got quite good recovery. When I'm really that wound up and at the point of, God, I can't do this anymore, I just prefer to just keep playing and just keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going. I might stop for 10 minutes, do a chocolate bar or something, just to switch me off. But no, I never take days or weeks off to recover. I usually only need a couple of hours just to detach, go read a book, write some notes down, watch a YouTube video about something. So I think the problem's already out there, right? I think what we're doing, there's a billion and one solutions to different things that we're doing. So yeah, just take a breath, speak with the clients, make them aware. I like to plan stuff as well. So 99%, if not 100% of a project is already documented before we started coding. So we don't get into a project midway and think, oh, crikey, this isn't going to work. We've looked at all the documentation, all the third-party apps, so we're pretty clear and pretty confident that the path is, it's mapped out and we've just got to execute on it, really.
It's usually getting to that path when I'm doing something that it's like, hi, I need everyone to not talk to me for about 3 hours while I just go and do something, and then I can get back to telling you how we're getting down this path.
Yeah, I guess it depends what's some work out. So since building the team out, it's initially something that's came up in management meetings lately. Is that a lot of the management team will now take that off me and that they'll map it. We've got project managers, that's what they're there for, is to manage the project and map the way. Developers are there to find solutions and make sure they're they're suitable solutions and can actually be delivered on time as well and on budget. So yeah, and I love that, go back 10 years ago, yes, I used to stay up all night reading documents thinking, oh God, this isn't going to work, or that's going to work, or need to find a different way. Whereas now other people, fortunately, focus on that area and they'll come to me with a solution rather than a problem.
It's always great when they're coming to you with a solution rather than a problem.
Yeah, it is. I don't need to get as much involved with clients as I do anymore. And some team members will focus on the problem for longer than they need to. And it's like, look, we can't really stress on the problem. Go take a break for half an hour, go for a walk, do whatever you need to do, come back tomorrow. But we need to focus on the solution rather than the problem, because we spend a week stressing about, something's gone wrong or that was unexpected, blah, blah, blah. But we just need to be reactive to the problem and call it a solution to, learn from it and push forward, really, keep things on track.
How long did it take you in life to realize you needed to focus on the solution and not the problem?
I'm still learning every day. Where there's not a problem, it's easy to say it and say that we focus on the solution, right? But when there's a problem, you get those kind of, we'd call it a relapse, I don't call it, where you revert back to type and you're like, oh God, this problem's going to destroy me, blah, 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 blah. But I try and manage it a lot better. Speak with team members and just try and not make a mountain out of a molehill. But I think it's something that's ongoing. Yeah, I couldn't sit here and say, oh, it's took me 38 years and I'm 100% not cured, but comfortable with that. Because if something bad happens, I know that I could get that relapse where perhaps it wouldn't last weeks or months, but it might last for a few hours, and I can shut it down over a few hours. So it's like a work in progress. Is probably the best way to summarize it.
I think some of the parents who are listening who have autistic kids could probably use that last part. It's a work in progress.
Yeah. And just when you think you're not cured it, but you've got on top of it, something will come up and bite you in the backside and knock you back a week or two. And you're like, oh God, I just need to work on it again, reassess it, try something different, and just get myself back on track and focus on what matters. Because I think if you don't, you can lose years and years and years of your life to this stuff, stressing over things that are never going to happen and things that are not important, and focus on the wrong thing. Just plan out what the key metrics are, the key outcomes you need, and then try your best to focus on that with support people around you.
This is probably going to sound like the craziest question ever, but do you think that your years in coding helped you somewhat with your autism and being able to like not overcome, but to kind of compartmentalize and go, okay, here's how I need to deal with this issue I have with my autism. Here's how I need to deal with this issue, and come up with a plan and a solution to deal with that issue?
No, I don't think you did. I think it's just been reading online about coping techniques and that kind of stuff. I don't associate the autism with the coding at all in terms of it like helping my life at all. I think they're two completely separate things. It's been speaking and talking about it more with people who understand it. Like one of our non-exec directors, John, he's very good at understanding how my brain works, and he thinks he's got me figured out. And just sharing things probably has been the biggest thing, and just understanding, well, trying to understand and trying to practice, and it is a work in progress. There's not a lot of black and white, it's all shades of grey, which is very difficult for to understand. But when things are going good, everything falls naturally. When things are tough, all that goes out the window. I'm not going to pretend it's all the whole playing field. It's really not.
I was only asking because we have a lot of kids whose their parents are neurotypical, so they're coming into the autistic community for the first time at the dance studio, and they're always like, oh, you're all put together. Maybe if my child goes into physics, they'll be all put together. And I'm like, you are seeing me at this moment in time. You don't get to see what like the board and the staff get to see when you guys all leave.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's not, I don't think physics or math helped me figure it out. Or they'll see Lita with her dance and they're like, oh, if my child takes dance, they'll become like Lita. And it's like, no, that is Lita. There is not one way that I can say, go this way and it's going to cure your kid's autism. There's not really a cure for it.
Yeah, no, there's not. It's just managing the symptoms. I just kind of symptoms traits. I just think of it like a dial. Some days the dial's at to 11, right, and it's just unbearable. And then you just have to look at what you can do to bring that dial back. It's always going to be there. It's never going to be on 0. It's always going to be at least a 3, whether you realise it or not. It's just that when it's peaking, it's identifying when you're going to go, not off the rails, but, it's going to peak and you're going to go into a stressful situation. What you can do to dial it back and just, find your coping mechanisms, basically.
And that's one thing that I know some of the parents that we have listening they're new, their kids are like 3, 4, 5, 6, they're just at the beginning of this journey, and they're like, okay, I got the diagnosis. Now my child should be perfect. And it's like, that's not quite how that happens. You've got to find their coping mechanism, not your coping mechanism.
Yeah, and that's why it's a spectrum, right? It's just, you have to sort of 360 degrees of it. It's not more, it's just, what works for one won't work for another. It's just trial and error, work in progress, and just keep chipping away. And I'm 38, so I've had it my whole life, and I don't understand it. I don't think I'll ever fully understand it. I've just got to try and realise not to drop into that dark hole when it flares up. I'll describe it flaring up like a doll, and it flares up like a doll. It goes from 1 to 100 or wherever it does, and just try and identify those signs and deal with them as before they become a problem, and try and learn from them. Write things down. Journaling really helps. Making notes and reading back, and when you read things back, when you catastrophize, I think you realise things aren't as bad as they were, or as bad as you think they're going to be as well. And it's like, not so bad after all.
And I am very grateful that most of our staff is autistic, so I can go, hi, I am hyperfixating on this problem and the solution to this problem when you see me today. If all I'm talking about is how to solve this problem.
Yeah, everyone's got their different traits, right? Different dials, which are stronger in different people. Like, I will hyperfix like you do, and other people are just like, but don't focus on that. Focus on this. This is the thing that's going to move the needle and move you forward to where the solution is. Don't focus on this. Focus on this instead, and that's going to move you forward. But it's hard, right? Because you go into that tunnel vision where you're just absolutely laser focused, and you try to go through a brick wall. It's just like, no, I've got to get to this. I've got to get to this. I've got to get to this. When in fact, there's no open door over it which you can walk through, but you're just too blinkered to to do it and almost make life easier for yourself, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. And I am so lucky.
We have 41 minutes.
She's our little producer over there. She's like, we're at 41 minutes. But yeah, I am lucky. The staff we have at the studio, dance studio, they are all autistic. So when I go, I'm hyper focused, they're like, okay, do you need to be hyper focused on this? And can we fix
Yep.
what you need fixed?
Yeah, it's tough, but yeah, having those people around, it certainly refocuses you for sure.
Craig, thanks for coming on today. We would love to have a further conversation with you later if you don't
course, yeah.
mind.
Of course, yeah, wherever you want, no problem at all. Always happy.
We have a
Can-
pit.
She's like, we have the pit bull. Where can people find you on the internet?
Yeah, so I'm on LinkedIn, which is probably the best place to find me. Craig Murphy, Alt Agency, LinkedIn, type that to Google, everything you come on. The business I run is called Alt Agency, ALT Agency. We're in Birmingham, so if you type that in, Web Design Birmingham, anything like that will crop up at the top of the search results, and yeah, pretty easy to find from there.
And what exactly does the agency do for some of our listeners who might not quite know what it does?
Yeah, so we're, in a nutshell, we're a digital agency. We help businesses to get more out of their online presence, whether that's for the websites, the digital marketing. We look at all the data behind it, all the numbers, figure out what's working, what's not working, rather than making an impression doing something just because it looks pretty. We do everything based on numbers and use that to make sure things are measurable and that the businesses are growing, basically.
That is amazing. I always love numbers,
Thank you.
obviously, since I have a math background.
It's where the truth is, right? You can't hide from numbers.
Oh, yes. I think my poor board, they're all a bunch of dancers and choreographers, and they're like, you brought numbers again. I'm like, because numbers prove things to me.
Yeah, numbers don't lie. I always say that numbers don't lie and they keep you honest, for sure.
But thank you so much for coming on
pleasure.
today, and we can't wait to have you on again.
No, appreciate that. Anytime, no problem at all. Thank you.
Hello, thank you for watching the Pit Podcast, and please subscribe and also look at the adorable paper. So if you want to subscribe for it, and also please leave a like. And don't forget, if you subscribe to our stuff, you won't miss any of our new podcast stuffies. And also, did you see the adorable paper? Don't you like it?